Well, hello there, everyone. It is April 2nd. Can you believe it? And I'm still here at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, coming at you from my hotel room on the 25th floor of the Palace Tower of Caesar's Palace. It's actually pretty cool here. I feel strange. I haven't left this hotel at all since I've been here. Many goings on at CinemaCon. And today, of course, Warner Brothers presentation is happening, and I'm going to be talking about that with John Campea later today on his show. But once again, I am proud to announce that this show now, you, my beautiful imagination connoisseurs, the Post-Geek Singularity community, I'm happy to once again say that I am now sponsored. This channel now has a sponsor from Lucky Tiger Men's Grooming Products. And as we say, Lucky Tiger is grooming products for men who deserve to look and feel great. Now, I have to say, as you all know, this whole Lucky Tiger sponsorship thing, I'm curious about why they wanted to sponsor me. I understand my message of positivity goes far and wide, and they have great swag. Just so you know, it's great. But their CEO, Mr. Alan Murphy, I want to get him to come on this show and explain why he wants to sponsor me. And the only way I can do that is if I get you to pester him at the Lucky Tiger website. There's actually two. GetLuckyTiger.com. That's where you can buy their stuff. And I got to tell you, I'm actually using their stuff because I wasn't going to pimp a product I didn't like. So I really like their stuff. It has this I just put Lucky Tiger moisturizer on my face. It's very citrusy. But I want to get their CEO, Alan Murphy, to come on this show and explain why he sponsors me. Why does he love the Post-Geek Singularity community? Why should you buy Lucky Tiger products? And why should I accept his sponsorship? He's got to earn my love. No, he's already got my love because he called me on the phone. He said he liked what I was doing. He actually told me I was worth a lot more than I'm really worth. So maybe if you guys could goad him into providing all the financial resources I need to conquer the world, that would be fantastic. Because why shouldn't you conquer the world with men's grooming products? Everybody wants to look good and feel great, and Lucky Tiger will do that for all men, not just those people who are part of the Post-Geek Singularity community. So write Alan Murphy. You got to write him. Go to clubluckytiger.com, where I will be producing content for their website. I'll be doing interviews and documentary pieces, and I'm actually kind of excited about it. I'm actually going to be able to do they're casting a wide net with various subject matter, and we're gonna talk to people all over the world, and I'm interested in doing that. That's what really attracts me with Lucky Tiger. That, and I like to look good and feel good too. And then go to getluckytiger.com, both of those websites, but demand, I don't know if you can send emails to those websites, but you should, and demand that Alan Murphy, the CEO of Lucky Tiger, comes on this Robservations, so you can ask him questions directly. I'm going to ask him questions too, but you should ask him questions directly. Well, now that that's out of the way, I think it's funny now that I'm going to mention this sponsorship because it's cool and I'm going to be working for them. Now it's really interesting. Did any of you guys go to summer camp, or girls? Summer camp, I loved summer camp. I went to two. I went to YMCA's Camp Orkyla, and then I went to the Flying Horseshoe Ranch in Cle Elum, Washington. And you'd have to line up before mess hall, before breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and they would sing a song, the announcement song. And it went like this: announcements, announcements, announcements. A terrible way to die, a terrible way to die, a terrible death to get talked to death, a terrible death to die. Announcements, announcements, announcements. I haven't sang that since I was at summer camp, since I was 14. But now I feel like I could sing it every day. I'll spare you, I won't. But in my mind, I'm going to say that. And Lucky Tiger, I'm going to tell you all about it. But go and get Alan Murphy for me. It's a campaign to get him on the show. Anyway. And by the way, I'm going to use another of their products because I don't have chapstick. I didn't even know Lucky Tiger made chapstick. They do, and I love it. It is so dry in the desert. My mouth, I was on the John Campea show, and I felt my mouth was doing that weird flickery thing when skin starts flaking off. Anyway, let's get to the matter at hand, shall we? Avengers Endgame. I guess the final trailer dropped today, which is really, it showed us more things that we've ever seen before. It announced that tickets are on sale. Now, how many of you are still trying to get Endgame tickets? How many? Come on, be honest. I want to know. Put it in the chat. Are you trying to get a lot? Because I was lucky. I thought that the tickets went on sale at 6 a.m. They didn't. The Russo brothers tweeted that tickets went on sale actually at 5 a.m., which would have been 8 o'clock on the East Coast, obviously. I woke up at 6. I was still able to get not my favorite seats, but I love going to the Cinerama Dome at the ArcLight in Hollywood. Some people don't like it. I've always loved it. I mean, because the curved screen, there's a little bit of reflection on the sides, but not anymore because they renovated the theater with laser projection when Force Awakens opened. They spent $1 million renovating the projection, and it is dope. So I'm like, I have to go see. There's 2 places that I'm going to go see Endgame. I'm going to go to the ArcLight, the Cinerama Dome at the ArcLight, because I love it. I'm seeing it in 3D there. And then, of course, I have to see it at the Chinese theater. I call it Grauman's Chinese Theater. It's not Grauman's Chinese Theater. It's bought by a Chinese company, which makes sense, but it's not Grauman's anymore. Sid Grauman. It's not that, but I still call it that. I love the IMAX screen at the Chinese theater. They actually excavated into the ground. I think it was 2015. And they remodeled the whole theater. The picture and sound in there is thunderous. It didn't used to be very good. The cavernous sound with modern technology, frequently dialogue would get lost. But I don't have my tickets. I want to go Sunday with my friend Dave Hargrove because we go. You've got to see Endgame. I have to see it really in both aspect ratios because there is the IMAX aspect ratio, which is more square or rectangular, and then there's the widescreen aspect ratio that all Marvel films are shot in, which is basically 239 to 1 or 235 to 1, depending on what you're if you want to get really technical about it. But it's 239 to 1. That's widescreen letterboxing. But the thing is with Endgame, because Thanos is so tall, if you'll notice, if you go back and you look at the IMAX version of Endgame, the IMAX version of Infinity War, well, I guess you can't see it anymore. But because Thanos was so tall, he was frequently cropped a little bit in the widescreen version, whereas the IMAX version, the preferred version, he wasn't. Now, here's the thing. Let me make an appeal to anybody at Disney. And I used to work for Disney Home Entertainment. Shame on them. Shame on them for not doing what Warner Home Video does. And what Warner Home Video does is when they did this with Aquaman, they did this with Christopher Nolan movies. When a movie is shot with IMAX cameras that isn't entirely in IMAX on home video, Warner Brothers will take all the shots that are in IMAX and the aspect ratio will change as you're watching the film. Now, you don't really notice it on home video. You really don't. I am looking out for it, but Disney does not make their IMAX films available in shifting formats. And I don't know why. They're also compromising their Atmos mixes. They're not as aggressive as they should be. I know what they're doing. They're focusing all of their efforts to streaming. But there are some people like myself that are holdouts, and I demand what I want because I deserve it, because I use Lucky Tiger. And if I use Lucky Tiger, I deserve to look good and feel good, but I also deserve to get the proper aspect ratio on my goddamn Blu-rays and 4K discs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I want Disney to apply what Lucky Tiger applies to men's skin to the home video market. And with that, let me take another drink out of my Lucky Tiger glass, coffee mug. So seriously, it really annoys me. So you got to go see Endgame in IMAX because it is a different aspect ratio. It's a different experience. It's more immersive and it's less cramped. And Thanos doesn't get his head chopped off. But anyway, as you might imagine, I saw this final trailer. I'm sure everybody's watched it 6 or 7 dozen times. I know I have. What I love the most about the marketing, first of all, golf clap to Disney's marketing department. Everybody at Marvel Studios, everybody at Disney. The marketing of this movie, in my estimation, has been brilliant because it's all about the emotional connection that we have to these characters and pulling on the heartstrings. You know, they could have just shown us a generic, what we call a bang trailer with lots of action, and they haven't. They've focused on character and dialogue. I mean, the most exciting thing in this trailer is watching 2 men shake hands and you hear Thanos speaking. Where does it lead you? Back to me. I mean, this goes to show you how over the last 10 years, what Marvel Studios has done by cementing these characters that have existed in the 4-color world and the world of animation for decades and decades. And they've turned them in, well, let's face it, animation isn't real, but the MCU is, of course, real. And it's so great that they've brought these characters forth into the movie realm and made us all love them. It's so fantastic. I mean, me as a middle-aged man with one foot in the grave, I have found my inner child. Actually, it's probably not true. You know that my inner child, anybody who watches this channel knows that my inner child never went anywhere. As a matter of fact, I don't even hide it. My inner child is basically sitting on my shoulder, both shoulders, because, you know, he changes. He has fun. My inner child's always having fun. But to see these characters writ large on the big screen the way they are, it's unbelievable. I never thought. I'm watching this trailer and I'm looking at the those that survived the decimation. You know, whether it's Nebula. Look at the characters that are in the Benatar flying to presumably Titan in a futile effort to try and get Thanos to unsnap the snapping. I mean, it's amazing when you're watching this going, I can't believe what I'm watching. I was sitting next to Derek Hughes, who's a writer-producer on Arrow, and I was sitting next to my friend Nikki Griffin, who was in The Drift. My beautiful friend Nikki Griffin, who I love, who's also a huge geek, who was in, by the way, The Drift at the beginning. She's painting her nails. We were both sitting watching the first Avengers movie, and it was like, we kept looking at each other like, is this real? Like, are we really seeing this movie? Like, how does this exist? And now this is the fourth Avengers movie that has the Guardians of the Galaxy in it. It had people like Doctor Strange and Spider-Man in it. They're dead. They got decimated. But it's incredible that we're getting this. And it's incredible that I can be so excited to see these films. And, you know, at 6 o'clock in the morning, I was up. And then I realized most of the Cinerama Dome was already full. I didn't get the premium seats that I want. I got good seats. They're good seats. They're respectable. But I was lucky that I got myself up with my alarm because I knew it was happening. And it's funny because when I left John, when I was doing his live chat, when I left his room a little after 11, or a little bit at 11, he still couldn't get on. Like, I couldn't get into Fandango to get tickets to the Chinese on Sunday to go see the IMAX presentation with my friend Dave Hargrove. I couldn't do it. Fandango's down, and then there was a queue, and it said you can get in an hour. Well, I had to come talk to you lovely people from Las Vegas, so I couldn't exactly get my and they're probably gone now. IMAX tickets, they're out. And I'm so excited. I mean, this trailer, once again, it shows us things, but it tells us nothing. Like, I'm convinced more than ever that in the first act of this movie, they confront Thanos and they freaking lose. You know, they lose. Maybe they kill Thanos. I don't know. Maybe they don't. They just lose, and the situation is hopeless. And that's how it begins. It starts with no hope, and then they rally the troops. They fly on the Benatar to Titan or wherever Thanos is. Clearly, he's got his ship back, his dreadnought, his Titan dreadnought, whatever it's called. I don't know the name of it. I'm sure it has a name because I didn't buy the art of the Infinity War, so I don't know the name of Thanos' ship. That vaguely looks like a Cylon base star. The Seed Pod base stars, not the base stars from the original Battlestar Galactica. But it is clearly the gauntlet doesn't work anymore. He can't use the Space Stone to teleport around. That's why he's beaming down, as John pointed out, like Ebony Maw did at the beginning of Infinity War. He's using mechanical devices to travel because the Infinity Stones have had it. They were overtaxed in shaping reality to Thanos' whims. Amazing stuff. I can't wait to see this movie. And they still told us nothing. And they're really marketing it based on our love for these characters. And kudos to them. We've never seen anything like this in cinema history before. Kevin Feige and the Marvel Studios crew over there, Louis Esposito and all these other people have done a phenomenal job bringing us 22 grand entertainments that have built onto what's come before, and they've really made us care about these characters. No one's ever done this in the movies, and people will say they've criticized, we talked about this before, like, oh, it's just like television. No, it's not like television. It's not. Television, you have a lot more time to develop characters, and it's really exciting that this happened. It's really exciting that we live in a world where we get this cool shit. And I'm deliriously excited. And again, you know, April 2019, perhaps the geekiest month we've seen in many a year. We got Shazam opening in mere days. We've got Game of Thrones dropping a week from Sunday. We got Hellboy coming out next week. We got Avengers Endgame. I hope you all can get tickets. I'm seeing it a couple days before it opens. And then I'm also seeing it on opening day, well, Thursday night when it opens on the 25th. It opens officially on the 26th. I can't wait. I'm seeing the 6 o'clock show at the Cinerama, the Dome. my home theater. Like if I could live in an actual movie theater auditorium, I would live in the Cinerama Dome, and I get to see it there, and it's going to be glorious, as we say. And theoretically, at some point between April and June, the Thanos hot toy figures, not the new hot toy figure that was just solicited with his armor, but the original, actually it's the second Thanos hot toy figure. The first Thanos hot toy figure from Guardians of the Galaxy has been negated because he's too small. Now the big Thanos is coming up. Maybe I'll get it before Endgame opens. I doubt it. I don't know, but I am excited. And Doctor Strange, I never got the first Doctor Strange. I don't have a Doctor Strange. My Avengers collection is missing Doctor Strange. It's missing the original Ant-Man, which I didn't pick up. I'm behind, man. I'm behind. But you're going to soon see a new display behind me on my Robservations chats where you can see my hot toys and more stuff like that. I'm on a superhero frenzy now. It's incredible. But Endgame looks great. And they've told us nothing, and I'm very excited about this movie. I can't believe it's here. Like I said on John's stream, I want to lock myself in a padded cell for a couple weeks because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want anything to happen to me. You know, if I did develop a terminal disease and die, if I get hit by a bus, I'm in some crazy terrorist event, I will beg the terrorists not to shoot me in the head or cut my head off. I will ask them, please, I'll come back. Just let me see Endgame. That's really pretty much what I want. But I'm excited. Now, have you guys got your tickets? Have you were able to get the debacle that was the it's funny, they didn't anticipate this. But in a way, they kind of want it to happen because it's a great story. It just keeps – what great marketing. Endgame tore down Adam, Fandango, all of the on AMC. Everybody went down. So it's a better story. Deadline will be writing about it. I can't wait to see how many tickets they've actually sold to Endgame. I can imagine people will continue to buy them. I think Captain Marvel's going to get a boost from this. It's going to be great. It's these are exciting times to be geeks. You members of the Post-Geek Singularity community, how great is this? It's pretty freaking great, isn't it? Like, aren't you guys excited? I know I'm excited. I'm starving to death, by the way. I haven't eaten anything today. I'm very hungry, but you know what? I'm full. I feel sated inside. My desire and because Endgame is really all the food and sustenance I need. I'll just keep watching the trailer until we have the Warner Brothers presentation tonight, but after this chat, I need to eat something because this water is not cutting it, and nor is the lip balm that Lucky Tiger provided. It's not filling my hunger. Like Galactus, I hunger. Anyway, so that's what I had to say. I'm just sharing my excitement from CinemaCon here. I'm really excited to see the Warner Brothers presentation. I'm wondering if they'll show anything from Wonder Woman. Probably not, but maybe. Who knows? Wonder Woman 1984 or Wonder Woman 84, whatever they end up finally calling it. By the way, deluxe Wonder Woman hot toy. I don't have that either. Need to pick that one up. It's nice. She's got like this big fur coat and stuff. So anyway, I'm going to see what people have to say. What are people doing here? And we'll take some questions. Maximum Effort 44T. Thank you for that super chat. I don't know if you've been here before, have you? I want to send you a pic of my Hot Toys collection. Email. Well, you can find me on our website. You can email me at theburnetwork.net. Theburnetwork.net. But I've said this before. If you want to email me pictures, I don't know if you can send me pictures there, but we're starting a gallery page on the Burnettwork website. I'm going to start all the wonderful things that you people send me, whether it's pictures, whether it's your tattoos or whatever you want to share with the world. I'm going to make a Post-Geek Singularity gallery. And you are all invited to send your wares, your works, whatever it is you want to share. Willow sent me pictures of growing cultures in E. coli. I'm going to put that up there just because I think it's cool. That's Willow Yang, ladies and gentlemen, the great letter writer, Willow Yang. You know what? I realized I was going to read emails on this show, and I forgot to get them. I forgot to go get them. Will you bear with me? Can I go get the emails? I think I can still do that, and because there's a few good ones. And again, you know, you guys, if you're not breaking my heart, you're making me smile. So that's great. I'm going to read some of these emails here. Now, let's see. That I haven't seen. I have to look at that. Stuff. So I'm going to find, let's see. Comment. Let's see. We got some, what do we got here? Oh, this one is a good one. I like this. This email comes from Dan Allen. And Dan Allen says, "Hey, Robert, great job on your YouTube page and on the John Campea show. I am catching up on all of your older episodes, and so this is a response to your collectibles episode." I like this. If anybody goes back and watches older episodes of the show, please feel free to write me about them like Dan has, because one, I like the fact that people are going back and watching them, but I cover all these various topics and it's supposed to foster conversation. So even if you go back, 60 episodes, I don't care. I just want to hear from you guys, and this is great. I'm catching up on your older episodes, so this is a response to your collectibles episode. I used to collect a lot of stuff as a kid. G.I. Joes, Kenner's Star Wars action figures, He-Man, and the Thundercats are just a few I can remember. I also collected baseball cards. When I found comic books, I sold all of my cards and used the money to buy comics. My brother and I have a comic collection close to $200,000 worth of comics. That's insane. My brother has my collection. I did start buying Star Wars Black Series, but I needed money to fix my house, so I sold them to my brother as well. The one thing I never stopped collecting was movies. I've been collecting DVDs for many years. I have over 6,000 movies. When I bought a 4K TV, I upgraded to 4K Blu-rays. Movies are the one thing I can't let go of. My new TV is great, and the 4K versions are so nice to watch on it. Collecting anything is fun, and it usually is something that you love. So keep collecting the things you love. I know I will. Thanks, Robert. Dan Skip Allen. Well, Dan, I'm with you. I mean, as I've told people, this is now the 39th year in my life that I've been buying physical media. 39 years. And the one thing about movies is, I mean, unlike, as much as I like Hot Toys figures, and I collect them and putting them up in shelves and putting all the Avengers together in action poses, I like that. It's inspirational and it makes me smile. Movies, though, are food for thought. They're not just items on a wall or items in a shelf or items in a glass cage. You put them on and the characters are your friends, the situations, you learn from them, you identify with them. So I am always going to be collecting physical media. And also it's, when a new transfer comes out, like Don May at Synapse Films made it his life's work to get Suspiria and put it out on Blu-ray. Now, how can you not, when a guy like Don May and his company Synapse is doing something like that, you have to support the effort because it's the best version of Suspiria that we have ever had. And it's amazing that we have it because of his tireless efforts. So one of the things I like about physical media is all these companies like Kino Lorber is stepping up their game. Warner Archive is putting great stuff out on Blu-ray. I mean, they put out the Green Slime. Who would have thought the Green Slime would have come out on Blu-ray? I think The Maid is here. I don't know. You never know. But it is. It's The Maid, but that's okay. She'll have to come back. I don't mind that. Let's see what else I've got here. I normally pull these emails before I talk, not during this conversation, but I've been so crazy, I wasn't able to pull other emails out that I wanted to. So we will see what I'm just gonna pull one out randomly, see what it is. Wow, I keep pulling out the same one. I keep pulling out Dan's. I keep pulling out the same. This is the one I wanted to read. Terry Flynn. Terry Flynn is one of the Post-Geek Singularity community members here. Now, Terry is a funny guy. He cracks me up. And I really appreciate his humor. We seem like we also park our shuttlecrafts in the same hangar deck. So this one comes from Terry Flynn. Dear Rob, I love this letter, by the way. On a recent video of yours, a jokey comment from me about Anson Mount's tweet kind of sent the discussion off on a tangent. You and others discussed man crushes and who you would do if you were gay. Although this is regarded as a bit of a trope in comedies, it actually felt quite life-affirming to me as a gay man. You and the commentators all indulged in these what-if exercises in a respectful, humorous way, which gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. Although I'm out to everyone, I rarely discuss how painful it was to come out ironically to myself rather than to others. Acknowledging it myself, that was the huge hurdle. But once I overcame that, telling others was surprisingly easy. But even now, I somewhat dislike the tendency for labeling oneself as one of the letters in LGBTQ, or whatever abbreviation is most politically correct. A film that really resonated with me was Kinsey. Although Kinsey's scale, broadly speaking, tried to illustrate that a lot of people are neither 100% gay nor 100% straight, but lie on a spectrum, we as a society still tend to class anyone not at the ends as bi. I dislike this tendency. A female friend of mine once described herself as straight but willing, one of many descriptions I found both humorous and insightful. Science fiction is a genre which I believe can help us really shed light on the spectrum of sexuality. And whilst I love books like the Expanse novels for their realistic portrayal of same-sex relationships, I wondered if someone like you has any recommendations regarding the greater complexity of sexuality. I know Star Trek The Next Generation had controversy over an episode. I think it was heavily changed and edited. No doubt you remember better. But as a man who, for simplicity's sake, labels himself gay, being very close to the 100% homosexual point but not quite there, I'm always curious as to whether any sci-fi fan can help us as a society begin to understand the scale of sexuality and stop trying to label people as simply straight, gay, or bi. I hope this makes some kind of sense, and thanks for indulging in my 8-year-old sense of humor in bringing up the Anson Mount tweet last time. As you know from Celadon Sound's desire to quote Vesna's typo regarding the Avengers, we Brits love our dirty humor. Plus, I found it amusing that your girlfriend contributed to the discussion. Kind regards, Terry. Well, first of all, I love this. First of all, I love Terry being here, and I love this. I really love this letter. And, I think I don't usually tend to address sexuality in these conversations, but I really liked Terry's letter, and I like what he had to say. First of all, I've always looked at human sexuality this way. I'm going to give you, here's my philosophical feelings about the subject matter. If human beings are not engaging in procreation, which is what the mechanics of sexuality is, it begins there. It's like if you're not doing that, and if you're practicing your own sexuality on a broad spectrum of ways, it's being with other people and sharing your physicality with somebody that isn't for procreation should be your own business. And as long as you're with two consenting adults, I don't presume to understand what furries are all about, but people like to get dressed up in giant furry animal costumes and meet one another. That's not my preferred choice, but if that's what they want to do, they should be able to do that. It's not involving reproduction. And in my mind, I've had friends of all different types. I've had gay friends since I was 13 years old. They have been my friends. I love them as people. And there has been no, it's like when I go out with my straight friends, we don't just sit there and spend all day long talking about our sexuality. No, we talk about movies, and we talk about our lives, and we talk about our parents and our friends and our loved ones. Well, you know what's true of my gay friends? We do the exact same thing. It's not like my gay friends are out there trying to tell me everything about their sex lives. Nobody does that unless, we want to be doing that, and in which case it's consensual. And one of the things that Terry brings up that I find interesting is the idea of human sexuality, because it is complex. Why do people get turned on by certain things? To me, one of the things I've always loved about sexuality. It's all imaginative. It's a confluence of your imagination, and the anticipation of what you like when you're with somebody else. And I think science fiction as a genre, and horror too, for that matter, a lot of the literature that I've read has dealt with different kinds of sexuality. One of my favorite book series, I swear to God, I'm obsessed with this book series, is David Gerald's War Against the Tor, or Tor, however you want to pronounce it. I've always said Tor. It's only 4 books now, but he keeps promising it's going to be 7, and he's been trying to write the 5th book for 25 years. Come on, David Gerald, get on it. I've read this series of books There's 4 books. I've read them at least 6 times. I wanted desperately, it would make the most kick-ass TV series ever. But basically, the premise of these books are that Earth has been invaded by an alien ecosystem that is slowly terraforming the planet into what it wants. It's a much more, and we don't know, there's no agency behind it. We don't know if it's merely an accident. The human characters don't understand it. It begins at the equatorial level around the Earth, and it's spreading upwards. And it began with what we thought was a plague. We didn't understand it was microorganisms, part of this ecology that's terraforming the planet. But the main character is a bisexual character, and he's part of the military, and he's part of the group that's trying to save the Earth. And the creatures are weird. The books are so interesting. And if you are, and this is no. Like, I just talk about shit I like. David Gerald did not tell me to talk about his books, but he does have a Patreon. And if you subscribe, he's actually, because he started writing these books in the early 80s, he's rewriting these books now to bring up the technology up to date. And he's releasing chapter by chapter to his patrons. Now, I have not joined David Gerald's Patreon because I didn't know he was doing this. I found out just the other day because I was having a conversation with somebody about these books. But really, it's about this main character, Jim, who is bisexual, and another one of the great classic pieces of science fiction literature, The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin deals with, or Gwyn, Ursula K. Le Guin. Is it Le Guin? Maybe it's Le Guin. I'm not really sure. It's one of the classic works of the sci-fi canon. Those off the top of my head are books that deal with the fluidity of human sexuality. Because again, if you're not bumping uglies to create more life, you're doing it for other reasons. So it's not, human sexuality evolves from that. Whatever turns us on. Like, I don't know. I watched Gerald Scarfe's animation in Pink Floyd The Wall when the flowers were like dancing around and one penetrates another. It was flowers, 2 flowers. It's the most sexual thing I ever saw when I was like 16, and it was flowers animation. Pink Floyd The Wall. By the way, where's Pink Floyd The Wall on Blu-ray? Why isn't it out? I want to retire my DVD. So Terry, that's just where I get started. But there's so much science fiction and horror. There's a great scene in, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's a great scene. I've often talked about 80s splatterpunk novels, and some of my favorites were written by John Skipp and Craig Spector. They wrote together, and their first 3 books are, if you like horror novels, not like horror, but horror, you have to read The Light at the End, The Cleanup, and their magnum opus, The Scream, which, how much would I like to make that movie? But there's a great scene in The Cleanup that deals with changing genders that I'll never forget. It's such a great scene. But read those books if you like horror novels, because they're fantastic. But yeah, I've always thought that science fiction as a genre, and there's the episode that I think Terry was referring to as far as Next Generation is concerned, is the episode The Outcast, which, as you might remember, was about a genderless society. And there are people in this genderless society that have tendencies to like people that are either male or female. And the Enterprise crew rolls up, and Riker falls in love with this character who's supposed to be genderless, and she identifies more as female. And look, back in the day, I want to say it's a 4th season, might be 5th season, Next Generation episode. I think it's 4th season. And of course, they have to buck the system, and the episode ends in a rather downbeat note. And I've talked to a lot of people from the LGBT community who have taken this episode to task because the actor that they cast in the role of the female, the quote unquote female, was Soren. I think her name is actually Soren. Soren falls in love with Riker, was a woman. And they people have told me that they objected to that, and that the episode would have been much more interesting if a man had been playing that role. And I say, look, that's true. I completely agree with that. But you're dealing with television that was more than 25 years ago. And progress takes time. And if you had Jonathan Frakes doing a love scene with another man, in a Star Trek episode. Now, as progressive as I am, I don't think at the time that would have served the show well. Now, of course, you've got the relationship we see on Discovery, which I think, frankly, is really sort of cliche and not well written. And a number of my gay friends have pointed this out to me. Not happy. It's great that we have gay characters that are out on Star Trek, but is their depiction the best for the community? I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, it should all be just matter of fact. Representation is showing people by not shining a light on them, going, look at this character. Look at his one trait we're going to define him as. We're going to make him gay. I don't think that serves anyone well. You just have great characters that happen to be gay. The same way I think about all of my friends. I don't sit there and think, oh, I have my gay friends, or I have my straight friends. I'm like, no, I have my friends. And I'm not really worried about their sexual proclivities unless they're sharing them with me, in which case I want to hear all about it, gay or straight. So anyway, so those are great letters. Thank you for sending them in. I love talking about collecting physical media. And Terry, thank you. And I love the fact that you're a Brit, and keep on and keeping on with your sophomoric sense of humor, because I too, anytime we can degenerate into sophomoric humor, I'm in 100%. So that's what I have to say. They're talking about, I've heard that if Marvel does move forward with their Eternals movie, Hercules is going to be in it. And supposedly it's going to be the first openly gay character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But isn't that kind of cliche? Like, if Hercules is the first gay character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, isn't that kind of a cliche character to step forward with? But maybe not. Representation is good. Doshi's here. Hello, Doshi. Doshi got 2 tickets for Endgame. Wow, double feature. Saw Rob on the Campy show, and now he's here. LOL. John still can't get his. I know, right? Isn't that funny? Well, thanks for the support. Love that you're being here. Dieter Bastian is here from Germany. Dieter says, I'm at the hospital right now, but I don't care because I just bought 2 Avengers Endgame tickets just 2 hours ago for the midnight premiere on the 24th. Well, Dieter, I hope you're okay, man. I hope you're okay. Celadon Sound is here. I haven't seen you in a while, Celadon. Celadon Sound was supposed to be having blood taken at the hospital. I'm sitting in the queue when Endgame tickets went up for sale. Immediately left. Priorities. I got Celadon, you're in the UK, right? And Dieter, both in the hospital. But that's not good. I hope you guys are hanging in there. By the way, Celadon Sound has a New Zealand girlfriend who's written to me. She sounds like a keeper. Celadon, you guys keep up the great work. I want to see those wedding photos. I want to put them in the Imagination Connoisseur Gallery for the Post-Geek Singularity. Celadon Sound also writes, he says, managed to get tickets for 5 viewings with my friends and family. First up is BFI IMAX on day 1, largest screen in the UK, sitting in the dub mixer seat. I love that. That's the sweet spot, man. That is the best spot in the house, and you are there. Topher Rocks is here. Will we see all the MCU living and dusted characters back together and fighting together? It would be incredible seeing everyone battling on screen. You know what? Something tells me yes. I think the over on that. I've gone all in with my prediction that Cap will say Avengers Assemble at some point in this movie. And I understand, for those of you who don't know, for you viewers out there that don't know, the first Avengers was actually called Avengers Assemble in the UK. I don't know if it was called that in the rest of Europe, but it was in the UK. And I think everybody wants to see that happen. I know I do. I'm 100%. I think it's going to happen 100%. But then I want to see everybody battle. Once everybody comes back from the snapping, from the decimation, I think they're all going to fight. Anthony Gonzalez says, Rocket and Nebula together. Russo's got me. I know, right? It's the pairings of these characters. I can imagine what Nebula and Rocket, they can probably commiserate over the fact that, they're genetically enhanced beings and they've felt like outsiders their whole lives. It's going to be great. I just can't wait to see what Tony Stark has to say about Rocket. That's what I'm looking for the most. I can't wait to see. Don't know what's going to happen. Celadon Sound says again, thank you for the support, dude. Cap's wearing his Winter Soldier outfit on the Benatar. 3 different suits for Cap in the trailer alone. I know, right? Pretty crazy. We'll see what happens. I mean, maybe he needs that, the stealth suit from Winter Soldier. There's something about that suit that he needs. I don't know. Willow Yang is here. Willow Yang says, only 4 tickets? I thought you'd have bought 400. Well, I would have if Fandango hadn't gone down. I can't get my IMAX tickets that I wanted. I'm sure it's already sold out by now. I'll go midweek, though. I am going next week. Remember, next week on the 11th, I'm going up to Seattle for my mom's 80th birthday. Nancy Bess Burnett is turning 80. I'm actually going to put her on. And now, this is my mother that adopted me as a child. I'm going to put her on. I'm going to introduce my mom on this channel on her 80th birthday. And I'm going to interview her live. And she doesn't understand what super chat questions are, or these questions, but I expect if you want to send in super chats that day, you got to make my mom proud. And if you just send in questions, make them good, because she doesn't understand any of this. But she will. She absolutely will understand, but it's going to be fun. So Nancy Burnett, that's going to be next Thursday. Nancy Burnett live on Robservations, my 80-year-old mother. Dochi says, multitasking with John on PC and Rob on my phone. John is still streaming. I love it. I love it. Haskell 420 says, Rob, CinemaCon free lunch began, and Adam Tickets has a sick Boss Logic 24x36 poster offer with ticket purchase of fan event, IMAX, or 22 movie 47-hour marathon. First of all, I'd never heard about this till John told me about this today on the show. They're actually going to do a 22 film 47-hour marathon. Like, I don't even want to be in that theater at the end of. How do you stay awake for that? I mean, it would just be unpleasant. I've pulled many editing all-nighter. Staying up 2 days is the worst. I don't think anybody should ever do it. It is the worst. You shouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Jay-Z asks, sir, what do you think of the Punisher Iron Man hot toy? Okay, for those of you who don't know, Hot Toys has announced they're making basically a War Machine hot toy. I think it's die-cast too. It's War Machine, but it's actually Punishered out, as if the Punisher was given armor by Tony Stark. It's got the Punisher, the skull on the front. What do I think of it, Jay-Z? Jay-Z, it is dope. And who doesn't want that? That shit is so good. I have not pre-ordered it because, I got to be careful. I don't have a lot of disposable income. So there are a lot of hot toys that I've had to let go over the last 3 or 4 years. Haven't had the disposable income, the cheddar to buy hot toys, but I will eventually. The great thing is you can run around and get it on the secondary market, which is always a good thing. But that hot toy is beautiful, and I want it. So yes, I've seen it. I want it. Caledon Sound says, Lee Pace, the man is beautiful. Is that your man crush? I love the fact that all of you male members of the Post-Geek Singularity community here have no problem talking about your man crushes. Love you guys for that. I mean, it doesn't mean you're going to do it. I mean, it's just fun to talk about handsome dudes. I love handsome dudes as much as the next guy. I'd want to be those handsome dudes. Just like Christian Slater said in Tony Scott's superlative direction of a Quentin Tarantino script, True Romance, when famously Christian Slater says, now I'm not gay, but if I had to fuck a guy, I'd fuck Elvis. Who can argue with that? I can't argue with that. Stubble McShave is here. What have been your favorite events panel in Vegas so far? Well, I haven't been to any today. The one I went to yesterday, which is about local productions, they had that not all film has to come from Hollywood to be worth seeing. I like that panel. I thought it was part of International Day. I thought it was good. I mean, one of the things I learned growing up, I grew up in Seattle, and we have an incredible international film festival, the Seattle International Film Festival. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that Tango Shalom gets accepted there. It's really hard now because there's so many prestige films from all over the world, but I grew up with a love of foreign cinema, and the Seattle International Film Festival would go on for a month. It's a really long-running film festival, and I saw movies from all over the world. I met Paul Verhoeven there when he brought his first English-language movie, Flesh and Blood, that starred Jennifer Jason Leigh and Rutger Hauer, and I had an hour-long conversation with him. So I'm a big fan of films from all over the world, and this convention was different than I thought. I mean, the studio presentations I'm really interested in seeing, obviously, because for geeks like us, that's all about their upcoming product. But a lot of this was it's for exhibitors. And it's not like a movie geek thing. It used to be called Show West, but they turned it into CinemaCon. But it has been really interesting. I'm really looking forward to walking the show floor again. I really want to talk to projector makers like Christie's about the issues of brightness. And I want to understand more, why do they keep doing that? And why do theaters not make their bulbs bright enough? And that's not good. Sky Amazing Guy says, Rob, I just had to stab someone to snag the last remaining ticket for Endgame Thursday night. Well, Sky, amazing guy. Listen, I cannot condone that behavior. Nobody should have to die so you can see a movie on opening night. However, I do appreciate the lengths that you go to satisfy your desires to see this movie. Just if you're going to do that, I hope you don't get caught. And remember that person has a loved one, and you can't stab everybody because those people have stories to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. But instead, I understand you stabbed him to get the Endgame ticket. I probably would have done the same thing. Racanman85 says, "Hey Rob, sent you a collection pic in an email. Had to pre-order the Endgame Thanos now. Ugh, laugh out loud. We've reached the end wallet now." I feel that way all the time. You know, it's every time. But you know what? It's great. My whole thing is I have Hot Toys figures like in my glass case. It's got like all the Avengers, but I don't have a Star Wars Hot Toy case. I've never had my Star Wars. Never really opened my Star Wars Hot Toys figures. I mean, I've got the Han and Chewie 2-pack. You know, I've got the DX Luke Bespin that comes with 2 figures, one where his arm's cut off. That was the first Star Wars figures they did, like, had to be, 6 or 7 years ago? That figure sells for crazy money. No, you can't have mine. I'm not going to sell it. But it's awesome. It comes with 2 Luke figures. And it's still in its box. I don't have a Star Wars display, which bums me out. These are first world problems, people. Hot Toys problems are always first world problems, but good ones to have. Jennifer Jones says, "I got 3 tickets to Endgame, even though there's only one of me. Hopefully I can help some other people out, or I'll just have a lot of space to nerd out." Come on, Jennifer, you got it. I am sure someone named Jennifer Jones can get people to come with them to go see Endgame. You must take people. Crixus Maximus says, "It's not how you feel, it's how you look, Rob, and you look marvelous." Well, thank you. I'm a little tired, a little droopy-eyed, I think. But I feel good, and I feel good with the Lucky Tiger moisturizer I have on my face. Nihilist says, "I feel giddy like a 10-year-old. Me too." Malfunctioning Host says, "This is some of their best marketing, to be honest." I agree with you, Malfunctioning Host. I think it really is. Jennifer Jones says, "What up, Justin Towns?" Aaron Johnson says, "I have to agree with Rob. Disney needs to get their shit together. I would love to see an IMAX shots of the 1944 Lion King on Blu-ray." I know. Like, I don't understand. And I used to work. Disney Home Video was one of the greatest. They were the most forward-thinking home entertainment company for a long time. And I think they're dropping the ball on this, and I don't understand it. Kevin Feige, you know what? I have Bob Iger on speed dial, but I don't like to make these calls. I don't like to throw my weight around to get things that I want with Bob. I mean, we just, we play squash on Sundays, and he takes me out for a lobster lunch. It's good. We keep it that way. Justin Town says, "Jennifer Jones, have to leave for work soon, but I saw this was live, and I had to hop in, give a listen, and say hi to everyone." Well, Justin, thanks for hopping in, and thanks for giving a listen. Dave Atkins says, "Couldn't get tickets for the second midnight here on the 24th, so got double bill showing instead on the 24th for £3 more. It's the first film in the UK I've had trouble getting." Wow. Well, as everyone knows, next April I'm going to be in the UK. We're going to the Odeon Cinema in Leicester Square to see Bond 25. It'll be a Robservations outing, but I'm planning it. I'm hoping that the film opens 2 weeks earlier in the UK, as they are wont to do. So plan on that. There's going to be a Robservations road trip to London, to the Odeon Theater in Leicester Square, where we're going to go see whatever it's called, the 25th Bond film. We could also go to the BFI IMAX film or IMAX Theater too, if they do that during the day, because I would dig that. Willow Yang says, "How good is Bob Iger at squash?" Well, Willow, to be honest, I let him win. I do. But don't tell him that. He can't know. But he's pretty good. For a guy who's captain of industry and probably the smartest producer in Hollywood that ever lived. Victory Unlimited Show, you are a great supporter of this station and this channel, and I want to thank you for that. You say, everybody assumes that actions can still get too old. Everybody assumes that actors can still get too old to play roles, but de-aging tech is making this a non-issue. The bigger issue is paying them. Mark my words, Harrison Ford will be young in the new Indiana Jones movie. That's a bold statement. I don't know. I mean, I like our characters when they get older, but after I agree with you. Sam Jackson in Captain Marvel, that de-aging was extraordinary. I mean, we've come a long way from young Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy, which was, Yeesh, also a Disney movie. Destiny Captain sends me a a super chat. Thanks, Destiny Captain. It's very nice of you to do that. I appreciate that very much. Mark Balam says, if the theater is air conditioned, it shouldn't be that yet bad. Dude, you get any people in a theater for 48 hours. It's just the noxious body emissions. It just fills up. It's like a house on fire with smoke, but different. Pre-live teaser says, Rob, do you think Chris Claremont got lazy toward the end of his run on X-Men? Yes. I remember the X-Men just hiding in the danger room. Chris Claremont's X-Men, I love Chris Claremont's X-Men, in the 100s. We worked with Dave Cockrum, and then he worked with John Byrne and Paul Smith and all. But man, did he get lazy. I think working with Jim Lee revitalized him when they went and did like X-Men 1. They rebooted, they went from Uncanny to X-Men 1. But yeah, he totally got tired. And his stories, his writing became almost impenetrable to read. It was these long, I did not like it. Doshi says he has a man crush on Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. Good choices. I do too. I want to be that kind of beefcake. I want to transform my man boobs that get bigger every year to look like Chris Evans' chest because he looks phenomenal. I could do it, by the way. I could do a whole Robservations workout routine. I could do it. It would be not fun to watch. Terry Flynn is here. Ben Bamboo, thanks. It's nice that my mom wants me to find Mr. Right. Laugh out loud. I tend to devote too much of my life to work. Yeah, you need a balance, man. Terry, you make somebody a fine husband, but you'll find that person. Spider Fresh says, I got 3 tickets for the opening night fan event, me, my wife, and a cousin. That's awesome. First of all, I love that your wife will go with you. That's fantastic. My girlfriend goes with me too. Elizabeth loves going to the comic book movies, although she did once say to me recently that she was getting a little tired of the comic book films, but we watched Aquaman together and she hadn't seen it. She liked Aquaman. Joseph Iraq is here. Rob, what are your thoughts on First Contact and time travel and Borg episodes in general? I love those. Outside Voyager, Cause and Effect, and Time's Arrow are one of my faves. Well, Joseph, I can't go with you on Time's Arrow. There's stuff to like in there, like Mark Twain, but those time-traveling aliens are a little murky. Not one of my favorite Star Trek cliffhangers. But I love time travel episodes. When they're done, great. One of the great Star Trek time travel episodes of all time is, of course, City on the Edge of Forever. Voyager did a lot of time travel episodes. I did like Year of Hell, even though the reset button. Cause and Effect is really interesting. I love Trials and Tribulations, of course, when they use the Orb of Time in Deep Space Nine to go back to the Enterprise on the Trouble with Tribbles episode. Anthony Gonzalez said, unfortunately, Game of Thrones did the same thing with Loras Tyrell. They made his character gay-centric and not much else. Martin wrote him as much more and badass. Yeah, I think you're right. Loras Tyrell's character, it just was about him being gay. He was badass in the novels, and that's the thing. You make a character badass, and then they happen to be gay. If you make a character, if their sexuality is front and center to how they're defined, they're not a very deep character. I don't like that. But I understand, there's a push-pull behind the idea of representation in popular media. How do you show people that have not traditionally taken a front seat? The same way that Jordan Peele, as we talked about in an earlier Robservations chat, you talk about representation. And when Jordan Peele says, Jordan Peele's a black man who grew up as a black man, and he basically said, I've grown up as a black man watching white male protagonists in horror films my whole life. I haven't seen enough black protagonists in horror films. When was the last time you saw a black family fronting a horror film? And he uses his success to do just that, which I'm fine with. Makes the movies more interesting. It changes it up, and Jordan Peele can bring something to I didn't say Jordan Peterson, did I? Jordan Peele can bring something to the that we haven't seen before, and that's great. That just makes for better films. And I think, if you have a character that just happens to be gay, it's interesting. Like you look at Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, the Shane Black film that Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer star in, like the character of gay, or guy. It was a guy. The Val Kilmer character is gay, but they don't belabor the point showing him in like bathhouses. It's not like it's in Cruising or something. He just is. It's part of his character trait, and what's really more important is his detective ability and how they solve that case. So yeah. Haskell 420 says, As per Campia, he just said he got texted by CinemaCon that lunch is ready. Laugh out loud. That's funny. Maybe I should go there. Pre-live teaser says, wasn't Beverly Crusher's ghost lover a long-lost ancestor? I think the ghost lover was a long-lost lover of her mother. Okay, that's the craziest episode of Next Generation. I can't say this is a good episode. It's a 7th season episode called Sub Rosa. I can't even get into it, and nor should anybody. However, it's beautiful on Blu-ray. It's a beautiful, gorgeous looking episode. Completely insane. Tom McClellan says, Tom McClellan says, love your videos, Rob. Also just booked my Endgame tickets. So pumped. Well, I'm glad you like the videos. Thank you very much for that. Matthew Ferguson said, have you gotten to the pawn shop? No, I haven't even left this hotel. I don't know if I ever will, but I'm going to try. And if I do, I'm going to make a video. I didn't realize that guy was on TV that you want me to go meet. I think I would just be another tourist going, oh my God, can I get you on video? I don't know if I should do that. Joseph, by the way, asked me about First Contact. I liked First Contact. I thought time travel became a crutch in the Star Trek universe. I think they did use it too much. And, First Contact is a fun movie, but I don't understand why the Borg didn't go back in time to primordial ooze Earth and just sterilize the planet so no life would ever have grown on it. Why did they go back to the time of the first warp flight? They're going to blow it up so the Vulcans never see. It seems a little convoluted. I know they're in a battle, but not a very good plan. Stubble McShave says, one of the great things of DS9 and Voyager is who the captains were. It showed a dark-skinned man and a woman as leaders. That was what defined them. Stewart also did a lot for bald men. Look, I agree with you. There was, up until they did Far Beyond the Stars, which actually directly addressed racism in the 50s. What was so great about Deep Space Nine is you had this father-son, single father-son relationship. Both characters were black actors, and it was not about being black. Nobody ever brought it up. I mean, Ben Sisko, no one ever looked at Ben Sisko. I mean, we did as viewers, but in the Star Trek universe, no one looked at him and said, oh, you're black. No, he was just Ben Sisko. He was a Starfleet officer. Nobody cared. In the future, when you have aliens and all kinds of weird species, I mean, who knows talk about sexuality, who knows what shenanigans humans are going to get up to when they meet alien species. My favorite example of that is in the movie Aliens, when a black officer is talking about Arcturian poontang, and he says, doesn't matter it doesn't matter if it's Arcturian, baby, whether it's male or female, because it's Arcturian. I thought that was a pretty bold way to go for James Cameron, and it speaks well to how human beings in the future are going to get their rocks off in a lot of different, more, I don't know, diverse ways than we could possibly imagine. Because who knows what aliens are going to be like? I mean, can you imagine being with a woman with like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? There's a character named Eccentrica Golumbitz, the triple-breasted whore from Eroticon 6. Come on. Who doesn't want to meet somebody like that? That was from Douglas Adams, by the way. If you haven't read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it's a fantastic book. I can recite a lot of it. But you never know what human beings are going to get up to in the future. And there's a lot of science fiction books that delve into this. And somebody's going to meet Eccentrica Golumbitz one day and her triple breasts and 4 and 5 and 6. Who knows? So, yeah. Adam Goose says, yeah, I thought that with War Machine wondering what would he say, as they all seem too all right without any. Oh, I don't know what you mean. You must be referring to something else. I have missed that, so it's nonsensical to me. I didn't see that. Wait, what did you guys say? What are you guys saying? Where are your ears, Roberts? My ears? Are they not there? Because can you see them? What if I were to talk like this the whole time? If I did a chat like this? Probably not the best. Not the best idea. Let's see. Ben Bamboo says, although I did get in a fight with 2 lesbians at a baseball game once, but that was only because they kept kicking my seat and were a couple of see you next Tuesdays. Would have been the case even if they weren't gay, though. Well, okay, see, there you go. People can be assholes. You shouldn't bring up their sexuality first. People, if they're assholes, they're assholes. I understand that, but yeah, why were they kicking your seat? I hate that. That's one of my biggest pet peeves in life is when people kick my seat. Anthony Gonzalez says, Endgame post-credit should be someone being at the aftermath of a battle site, moving metals around into the air. That'd be cool. I'd like that. Christopher Sanchez says, hey, Rob, just wanted to tell you that I got you on 3 screens, laptop, TV, cell phone. Well, that's frightening. What if I did this on all your screens? That must be terrifying. I wouldn't want to be you right now. Let's see. Let's go down to the bottom here. What else is going on? Crixus Maximus just moved forward. I can't see what you're saying. Crixus Maximus said, RE First Contact. Maybe the further back in time you go using the Borg tech time travel methods, the more power it takes. So that was the most pivotal moment they could reach. I like that idea. That's a really interesting idea. Tyrion Lannister displays his heterosexuality, says Rick and Man 85. He does. He absolutely does. But that's, he's sort of, I've always thought of Tyrion Lannister as sort of he just indulges in all of his appetites, which is good. Christopher Sanchez says, free super chat. Yay for me. And now for you, Rob. It's funny. Everyone who's getting YouTube Premium gets a free super chat. I love that they're sending them to John and I. So thank you, Christopher Sanchez. Haskell 420 says, Rob, there is something strange in the way Tony says to Cap, do you trust me? Cap says, I do. Got a feeling that is different Cap because Tony is wearing the same dark blue outfit we see in that. Where's the rest of you, Haskell? See in that leaked pic of Cap. Tony, Banner, and Ant-Man on Avengers 1 set leak. Maybe Cap dies. They go back to talk to Cap in the first Avengers, then ahead to Age of Ultron as Cap got his suit. Okay, I see that. I get that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. That's what's so exciting about this. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't know. Anthony Morales says, I haven't bought Endgame tickets yet. I'm going to wait. I've noticed the theaters by me always add more screenings and showings a week before the release. There's mostly only 2D showings by me now. That's probably smart. That's good. Goalie Dad 33 is here. When Warner Brothers makes an announcement for their slate of movies, is it secret information you would have to sign off? Not allowed to share to the public. Please share tonight if possible. I will. I'm press, so I would assume. That it's okay. Haskell 420 says, I need a girlfriend who has money. You know what? Even if you had a girlfriend that has money and is totally rich, she's still going to expect you to pay your own way. It's true. No woman should be your gravy train. Haskell 420 also says, if any in New York, Long Island, come hither. As long as she buys you Hot Toys figures. That's all you need. Doshi asks, hey, Rob, any thought on Robin Hood Men in Tights? That would be the Mel Brooks film. I got to tell you, I don't want to disappoint you. I hated that movie. I hated Robin Hood Men in Tights. The humor was so – I mean, when I say it's sophomoric, it's really sophomoric. I didn't – not one of Mel Brooks's best. It was no high anxiety, I'll tell you that. Crixus Maximus said, planks, push-ups, multi-angle bench presses, eat right, then pecs, no problem. Funny, I was telling someone about this working out like just this morning. Yeah, I would work on my pecs last. You got to eat right. I completely agree. Spectacular Spider Guy says, can anyone go to CinemaCon? No, it's not open to the public. You have to apply for credentials or work in the exhibition business because it's really for theater owners and things. Celadon Sound says, I loved Year of Hell. I liked how they set it up in earlier episodes too, and I'm not even a big Star Trek fan. Yeah, I did too. I like Year of Hell is a lot of fun, and you feel sorry for Kurtwood Smith. You know what he's doing. Yeah. Terry Flint says, Celadon Sound, Year of Hell is what really made me understand why Ron D. Moore did a reboot of Battlestar Galactica. That's true, right? I like that so much because it had you really felt like it was horrible. Like everything that was going on in that episode was just bad. And you understood why they did what they did. Anthony Morales says, I love Val Kilmer and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Real Girl 26 says, race, creed, sexuality, etc. These should just be part of a character's identity, not the entire focus of the character. Absolutely, 100%. I agree with you. That's what great writing is. And I'd like to see more of that, especially on a show that begins with the letter Star Trek. Anyway, yeah. Gregory Smith is here. Love listening to these discussions. I didn't even know Endgame tickets were going to go on sale, let alone buy any. I hate dealing with the pressure of ticket sales and high demand stuff. I'll wait. Well, come on, Greg. Take your firstborn. See the Avengers. Matthew Ferguson says, R&B, I love the MCU, but I'm concerned that there's a single point of failure with Kevin Feige. Do you think there's a succession plan in place? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's interesting. I don't envy Kevin Feige as much as I admire what he's done. After you've made these 22 movies and you end up making, I mean, they've passed, Captain Marvel is going to be $1 billion grossing film. They've passed $18 billion for 22 films. What do? All you're going to deal with is stockholders and the pressure of having to recreate your success. I mean, I think it's interesting. I think they're going to contract. They're going to go back and build up what they did again. And they'll start with new characters and old characters, old favorites, and they'll change things up. I would not want to be him, though, because he's got because they're going to be like, why isn't every movie grossing $1 billion? Well, it can't. That's unsustainable. I hope he tells people that. Mark Balam says the Trill are an example of a fluid sexuality and gender. Well, it's interesting because I don't think that like if you're a Trill and you're put into a host body that's both male and female, you change genders throughout the course of your hundreds of years of life. I don't think you'd even think of human sexuality the way we think of it. It's just different sexualities. It's not, I don't think the Trill have an idea or a word for being straight or gay because they change gender. They just think about it as love, physical love. Physical love is a manifestation of emotional and love, and it's just different. You want to please your partner. What difference does it make? If you love somebody, who cares what you do to please them as long as you're both consenting adults and you do it? What's wrong with that? Just bring a video camera and send me a link. Just kidding. You don't have to do that. I don't expect you to do that. There's too much of that on the internet already. Read by Nature says, that's why labeling Trek fans as racist, sexist, etc. is laughable. They've worshipped a show for decades that tackle these issues. I agree. I totally agree. And it's just that nowadays everybody wants their issue du jour to be tackled with immediately and full force. They don't understand that our society is constantly in a state of evolution and flux. And I think in certain ways, especially on the far left, we've snapped back to this weird identity politics that isn't good for anyone. And it doesn't allow for nuance, and it doesn't allow for any shades of gray. Everybody wants things the way they want them. And they're screaming and yelling and bitching and moaning, and they're complaining that they don't get exactly what they want, the way they want it, when they want it, and how they want it. It doesn't give anybody any chance. I mean, if you talk about LGBTQ people, I mean, I've got friends, one of my oldest friends in the world, married his husband when it was legal in LA and I guess the early aughts, and then they took away that right. And they were worried about whether their marriage would still be legal. Of course, thank God it is. But if you ask anybody over the last 40 years, if you've got a friend who's an older gay person, ask if they ever thought they would see marriage equality in their lifetimes. Probably many of them would answer no. And it's pretty interesting that we have that. Look at how quickly it happened. Really, it happened very quickly. Christopher Sanchez says, Rob, can you find someone from Regal and ask why we can only use reward points for popcorn and soda and not nachos and candy? You know what? I have an answer for that. Because nachos and soda are basically a replenishable resource that doesn't have to be like a giant bag of nachos is not as accountable as a one box of hot tamales, say, or Mike and Ike's or whatever, or Red Vines. Red Vines, they know they're paying this much per Red Vine box. And whereas popcorn and nachos and things like that, endless supply. Drinks too, they get big, they don't know exactly how much based on how much ice people put in their sodas. So it's a much easier thing and more profitable for them too. So that's why they allow you to do that. They're making more profit that way. So they probably won't change. Travis Rayner says, after seeing Shazam, I think The Greatest American Hero could work as a motion picture. My 49th birthday happens to be on April 11th also. Well, Travis, happy birthday. I guess people who are born on April 11th are good people. That's awesome. Aaron Johnson says, Rob, CinemaCon sounds fun. There should be a similar event for the general public where every geek can walk up to people and say hello. It definitely would unite the fan community. But that's kind of what conventions already are, and Comic-Con and things like that. It's good. Doshi says, I missed 2 of his super chats. Well, Doshi, I'm sorry I did that. I will jump up. It's hard. I don't have my mouse. Let's see I think I did. Doshi, can you call Bob? Doshi says, can you call Bob Iger for me? I need more tickets. No, dude. The reason Bob Iger doesn't block my calls is because I don't ask him for those things. I only ask him when, I need to get like $1 million to finish a movie. or something like that. So yes, Doshi, I did miss that super chat. I don't think I missed any others though. I did get your thing about your multitasking with John on PC and on your phone. So I think I got those. I think that was there. But I thank you again. I just appreciate all your super chats. You've been very supportive of this channel, and I very much appreciate that. Applestone Productions is here. Applestone Productions says, I'm lucky that I was able to get tickets for Avengers Endgame. I had to wait 7 hours waiting for the website, and I was able to quickly snag 3 tickets for me and my pals before they sold out. 7 hours. That's crazy. Greg Smith says, yeah, I will take number 1 daughter. We loved seeing Captain Marvel together. That's great. You have a good number 1 daughter there. Pre-Live Teaser says, I love Blazing Saddles. It was written by Richard Pryor, too. It was. He was one of the writers. Yes. Mark Balam says, the thing is, Stubble McShave, that internationally, keeping the archetype simple helps the international market where nuance might not be understood. Mark makes a really good point. You know, there's a lot of movies that don't travel well. For instance, comedies can be very colloquial, and there's a lot of things in comedies that can only be understood by the host country or the country that the movie was made in. The comedy doesn't translate very well. One of my favorite comedies of all time, which would absolutely be in my tease if I ever get there, is a Japanese movie called Tampopo. It's hilarious. If you guys have not seen Tampopo, it means dandelion. You got to see this movie. Criterion put out a great Blu-ray. It's incredible. It's amazing. You've got to see it. I highly recommend Tampopo. Please see it. Get it. The discs are great, but it's got wacky Japanese humor in it. You'll get it all. You won't be like, why is this funny? You'll get it all. It's good. Well, listen, everyone, I'm going to jump off this chat because I've got stuff to do. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank you all for the super chats, supporting the channel. I will be on with John Campia later to talk about the Warner Brothers presentation that we saw, which should be fun. I'm going to go eat. I'm dying. I'm falling asleep practically on this chat. I need to get some food in my belly. So I'm going to bid you all farewell. I want to thank Lucky Tiger for sponsoring this chat and sponsoring this channel, sponsoring the Burnettwork. And I want everybody go to those websites. Wait, let me give them to you again. In case you don't have them. GetLuckyTiger.com, which is where you can buy things, and ClubLuckyTiger.com is where I am going to be creating content. I'll be doing podcasts and videos and things on that for Lucky Tiger. What I really want you to do is write Alan Murphy, the CEO of Lucky Tiger. First of all, thank him for sponsoring him, but get him to come on the show because I want to grill the CEO of Lucky Tiger and find out what's the deal, dude. What's your mission statement? How come your Lucky Tiger products smell so good? Why do I like them so much? And they sent me a care package of a bunch of stuff that's at my house today, and I can't wait to delve into it. I think I'm gonna have to grow the white beard just to use their product to have fun. As they say, their grooming products are for men who deserve to look and feel great, which is all of you. And some of you ladies can deserve to look and feel great too. But I don't know if Lucky Tiger caters to you. But I'll get into it. I'll talk to it. You know, I'm gonna get Alan Murphy to talk to Bob Iger. 2 captains of industry, both that I should get together, but it's going to be great. So anyway, I want to end this chat. I want to thank you all for being here. I will be back tomorrow. And remember, every person you meet has a story to tell you have yet to hear. All you have to do is listen. I want you keep telling me those Endgame ticket stories. Tell me how you got them. Tomorrow we'll talk more. I want everybody to have a ticket by then. Get on it. We got to see this movie. We got how much money? What's the over or under? I don't even know how much money they've made off pre-sales. Anyone have a guess? I have no idea. I have no information. I can't venture a guess, but it's going to be amazing. Anyway, I'll see you guys later today. Thanks for being here. Appreciate all the support on the channel, and we'll be back tomorrow too. So I'll see you then. Or not.